It starts the same way every time. A group of friends, a night out, laughter echoing through a college town, bars, bright lights, cold air cutting through the night, and then someone vanishes. The next morning, panic. Calls unanswered. Search parties start. Flyers go up. Days later, the missing student is found, floating face down in a nearby river. Police call it a tragic accident, drunken missteps. Another young life gone too soon. But what if these aren't accidents? What if someone or something is hunting them? This is the story behind one of America's most chilling and controversial mysteries, the Smiley Face Killer theory. The first whispers began in the late 1990s. Bodies of young men, college students, athletes, promising scholars kept turning up in rivers across the Midwest. Minneapolis, La Crosse, Pittsburgh, New York, different cities. Same story. A night of drinking, a disappearance, and a body pulled from cold, dark water days later. At first, nobody connected them. Each case was handled by local police. Each ruled an accidental drowning. But two retired detectives from New York City, Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte, started noticing something strange. They mapped the cases. They analyzed crime scene photos, autopsy reports, toxicology results, and what they found sent a chill down their spine. In dozens of these cases, a smiley face, crudely spray-painted, was found near where the bodies were recovered, sometimes under bridges, sometimes on tunnel walls, always watching. Was it coincidence? Or was it a signature? Gannon and Duarte believed these drownings weren't random. They saw a pattern too specific to ignore. Victims with similar profiles, young, fit, intelligent men, all vanishing after a night of drinking, bodies discovered in water, often days or weeks later. Many were found with signs of a struggle, bruising, cuts, inconsistencies in decomposition. The detectives suspected something darker. A network, a group of organized killers working together, communicating across states, targeting a very specific type of victim and leaving behind their twisted signature, the smiley face. They called it the Smiley Face Killer theory. The idea was terrifying. A hidden ring of predators operating undetected across the country, killing for sport, then staging the deaths as drownings. But to law enforcement, it sounded impossible. The FBI reviewed the claims. Their conclusion was blunt: no evidence of organized activity. They pointed out that thousands of accidental drownings occur each year in the US, especially among young men who've been drinking near rivers or lakes. Add poor lighting, freezing temperatures, and alcohol, and tragedy becomes statistical certainty. And those smiley faces? Common graffiti? A meaningless mark that happened to appear near waterways. The Bureau dismissed the theory, but the families of victims didn't. For parents who lost their sons, the idea of an accident never made sense. They knew their children, disciplined athletes, strong swimmers, cautious. They'd heard the same story from dozens of other families. My son went missing after a night out. The police said drowning. But something doesn't add up. Some bodies were found weeks later, yet the conditions suggested they hadn't been in the water the whole time. Phones and wallets disappeared. Clothing was missing or rearranged, and always the smiley face nearby. The families found comfort in the detective's determination. At least, someone was still asking questions. Walk along the riverbanks of La Crosse, Wisconsin, and you can feel it. That uneasy silence. From 1997 to 2010, nearly a dozen college-aged men were found dead in the Mississippi River there, each one after a night out. Each case ruled an accident. Locals began calling it the river runs red. Search divers described eerie recoveries, bodies positioned in ways that didn't fit the current. Some had their arms crossed over their chests. Some appeared to have been placed, not pulled, into the water. And then there were the symbols, spray-painted faces grinning on bridge supports, a mocking reminder. Was it coincidence or communication? By the mid-2000s, the Smiley Face Killer theory had gone viral. Forums, blogs, and early YouTube videos dissected every detail. Maps filled with red dots appeared online, each one marking a death. People began connecting patterns themselves. Social media turned tragedy into obsession. Amateur investigators hunted for clues, visiting riverbanks, interviewing witnesses, even comparing graffiti photos. But with that obsession came chaos, false claims, misidentified victims. The line between truth and paranoia began to blur. What started as a police theory had evolved into a modern myth, part true crime, part urban legend, part nightmare. Forensic experts challenged the detectives' conclusions. They pointed out inconsistencies, misread autopsies, environmental effects on decomposition, the randomness of graffiti. But some scientists quietly agreed there were oddities. Certain bodies showed diatom levels inconsistent with drowning. Some had chemicals in their blood suggesting incapacitation before death, as if they'd been drugged, abducted, and then disposed of. Was there a serial element? A ritualistic one? Or was the truth even stranger? A psychological phenomenon fueled by pattern recognition and grief. Behind every case is a family, a mother waiting by the phone, a father walking the shoreline at night with a flashlight, calling his son's name. They don't talk about serial killers or theories. They talk about birthdays that never came, about laughter that stopped, about photos frozen in time. To them, the theory isn't about conspiracies. It's about the possibility that someone did this, that their child didn't die alone or by accident, that there's someone out there who knows what happened. In 2019, a new wave of interest reignited the case. A docu-series brought the detectives back into the spotlight. More cases were linked, more patterns mapped, and more experts brought in. The police still called it coincidence. The FBI maintained there was no proof, but even skeptics admitted the statistics were strange. Too many similarities, too many unanswered questions, and that smiley face, the simplest of symbols, became the most haunting image in modern true crime. The smiley face means happiness. It's on stickers, shirts, emojis, a symbol of joy. But in this story, it becomes the opposite, a symbol of cruelty. Some experts believe that's the point. If a killer or killers exist, the mark could be mockery, a taunt, a way to show control, to turn something innocent into something terrifying. Even today, new cases emerge that fit the same mold. A student in Boston, another in Chicago, a young man in Nashville, bodies found in rivers. Same profile, same silence. Each one reignites the debate. Are we looking at coincidence or the shadow of an unseen hand still at work? No one can say for sure the detectives have aged. The theory has evolved, but the mystery remains alive. Whispered on Reddit threads, explored in podcasts, debated in classrooms, the Smiley Face Killers, real or not, have become a mirror reflecting our own fear of the unknown. Maybe the truth is simpler than we want to believe. Maybe it's not a network, not a conspiracy, not a signature at all, just tragedy repeating itself. Or maybe, somewhere in the dark corners of America, there really are hunters, connected, careful, leaving behind their mocking smile before vanishing again into the night. What this story shows is how desperate we are for answers, how patterns bring comfort even in horror. Because believing there's meaning even in evil feels better than believing there's none at all. The smiley face, a mark of innocence, turned into an icon of dread. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's a cover-up. Maybe it's the mark of something humanity still can't explain. Either way, every time another young man disappears near water, the same question returns. Is it just another tragic accident? Or another smile left behind in the dark? The Smiley Face Killer theory, unproven but unforgotten.